Welcome. We are live, and as you can see, we've got some change in action on the go. We've got a bloody bulb. I probably look like less of a ghoul and more like a man who's like half of his face is being burnt off by the sun. But yes, I'm very, very excited. I'm gonna have to arrange things so it does look better than this. But I think we can see that. I think we can say that this is, at the very, very least, progress. It's definitely a stab in the direction of progress, anyway. So yes, what is on Doctor Who on Twitch the night? Well, so we look at the schedule, shall we? What have we got? We have The Visitation, 4 episodes. Black Orchid, 2 episodes. Big Earth Shock, 4 episodes. Time Flight, 4 episodes. Arc of Infinity, 4 episodes. Snake Dance, 4 episodes. Modron Undead, I'm never sure how to pronounce that, 4 episodes. And 1 episode of Wee Terminus. Yes, a very, very, very solid block of Fifth Doctor action. If you like your cricket, this is the place to be. So yes, we start with The Visitation, and that is that historically in with the Plague. And I've always vaguely quite liked it, but from afar. I remember getting one of the DVDs of it back when I was a bairn, and it was the one of the earlier DVDs. I want to say was The Visitation. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure The Visitation was an early one. I definitely have memories of it being one of the early DVD box sets where they were slightly different. They were slightly differently packaged, and I feel like they didn't have all of the special features that they come with now. And back in the heyday of it, where there was just a billion special features on the disc. But The Visitation, I guess it took a while for them to do Plague stuff, but they got there, and they got there in style. And like it's a good all-rounder of an episode, I want to say. I feel like there's a lot going on. There's a lot of good kind of bants. There's a lot of very much feels like a 13th Doctor episode. And I know there's been a lot of comparisons between the 13th Doctor and the 5th. And if you want to see them in like kind of very sharp focus, I'd say watch The Visitation, because like The Visitation is like the Doctor, his 3 companions. Yeah, it's 3 companions, and then there's like a Kraken character of the week. And 13th Doctor and Chibnall in particular seemed like he was kind of cribbing from that, taking big TARDIS team and hella folk. I feel like it's done better in Visitation than it was done in any episode, of the last season, but definitely parallels and stuff that you could look at there and say that is kind of a direct vibe that they were going for. Maybe that's not true. Maybe Chibnall hates the 5th Doctor era, and specifically the era of loads of companions, and he's weirdly just kind of recreated it somehow without loving it and without intending. I mean, that would be weird, but, completely in keeping with the tone of Chibnall's show runnership. I was going to say premiership, but that's not what it is. But The Visitation is really good. It's like, if you don't like historical-ish episodes, then I feel like you'd be turned off quite heavily, because it is quite... it's set in that past, and there are sci-fi elements, but they're definitely like sci-fi elements cutting about amongst. I'm going to shame myself here because I don't know which century it is. I'm going to say 15th century. I don't know. I should have actually looked it up. I've got a book actually over here about Plague stuff that I've been meaning to cut into. It's a non-Doctor Who, non-Warhammer one, and non-Partridge one, so it's a bit of a outside of my comfort zone, but. Maybe I'll watch The Visitation and that'll spur me on and I'll watch it. Or I'll read it, I should say. But yeah, definitely check out The Visitation. It is pretty good. I thought it was pretty memorable, and it was a good time last year on Twitch. I'd seen it before, but it was a good time rewatching it on Twitch last year. There was a lot to it. And also, it's 4 episodes. It's a brisk 4 episodes. That's one of the great things about tonight. Nothing goes above 4 episodes, I want to say. Yeah, you're just in the midst of just kind of manageable Doctor Who right now, because you go from Visitation, which is very manageable, and then you go straight into Black Orchid, which is like 2 episodes, which is insanely manageable. I forget why the circumstances of it being 2 episodes. I don't know if it was part of experimentation on the show's front to see what worked better, or if it was just was mandated that way, or if it just happened to like necessitate it. But I hadn't seen it until last year, I want to say. It was one that I'd kind of seen about a lot. I'd definitely seen it about, and had heard it talked about in kind of loving terms, but I didn't particularly like it that much last year. I feel like the Fifth Doctor actively plays cricket in it, which is something that you have to give it. Like he is a cricket man inexplicably, and they eventually had to give him a scene where he played cricket for realsies. I know he played cricket in space for a bit, but yeah. I mean, I feel like I don't need the Doctor's costume to be justified, but when it's that cricket outfit, it kind of needs to be justified. So, take what you're going to get on that front. Yeah, I thought Black Orchid was pretty good. Like, I didn't like it all that much, but I thought it was pretty like competent. That's the thing you can say for the Fifth Doctor's episodes. Apart from one, maybe two glaring examples, I feel like most of the Fifth Doctor's run is very just solid and competent and just quite watchable. Really, it's less variable than the second half of Fourth Doctor stuff, which can be very hit and miss for people and very, very miss for certain people. But I feel like you can't really pick out any. I mean, there's a couple weak ones in the Fifth Doctor's run. We'll get to that, but overall, I think they're pretty good. Yeah. So what have we got after Black Orchid? We've got Earthshock. Well, sorry to shout, but Earthshock is a heck of a time. Like, you'll have been watching through the Twitch stream and you've been following along, and you've probably been hating Adric. And I feel like we can just say, like, spoilers. There'll be spoilers going ahead for Earthshock. If you don't want any spoiler on, something that happened 30 years ago, and I know I say that quite passive aggressively, but if you genuinely don't, stop listening now. I'll give you a moment. Right. So Adric dies, and I feel like if you're into Doctor Who and if you know about Classic Who, you probably know that. But let's be nice and no shoo people away if they've no seen it or heard about it. Adric dies, and Adric is a very whiny character, but so are a lot of people in the TARDIS, to be honest. But like, he's the Scrappy Doo of Doctor Who. The Scrappy Doo of Doctor Who's a hell of a line. I never really minded him all that much, to be perfectly honest. I didn't think he was that bad. Like, he's Scrappy Doo, and he's like a math-based, whiny young person that I feel like he betrayed the team more than once. But like, I mean, basically, you can't really say all that much about him that's good. But he does die, and as I was alluding to in one of the earlier episodes, Adric dies in the most metal way possible. So, spoilers for Earthshock if you've not seen it. Adric dies as the comet that kills the dinosaurs, as the meteor. Like, somehow, like, because the episode's not about time travel, but like in the last episode, time travel just happens to this spaceship that he's on, and he's like on there, and for reasons, and then that spaceship crashes into Earth and obliterates all life on it, killing all the dinosaurs. And that's a fantastic way to die in a sci-fi show, especially one on Tea Time on BBC One. Like, I do not hesitate in saying that is one of the most metal ways you could possibly die, killing all the dinosaurs. And Adric gets that honour. I feel like I recently read that he was brought back in Big Finish stuff, which, I mean, I feel like that takes away from one of the kind of most memorable deaths in British television history. It takes away from those wee silent credits over his shattered math star. But at the same time, that is one of the most Big Finish things I've ever heard. Maybe they're taking a crack at fixing Adric. I don't think, needs fixed, to be honest. He was kind of not well-liked companion that had a good, like a Viking death in that sense, like a good death. And Earthshock is notable for being the return of the Cyberman after a long absence, because you only get your one Cyberman appearance in the Fourth Doctor's era, in Revenge of the Cybermen. and then there wasn't one before that because there wasn't the ones before that was Second Doctor stuff. So it's a big comeback as Earthshock, and like I think the gets a lot of credit, but the reveal at the end of episode 1 that it's the Cybermen that are the baddies is pretty good. It's up there, I think, in the show's history, and I really like 80s Cybermen design. Like I'm a big fan of the 70s design. Like I'm a big fan of Revenge of the Cybermen's chonky handlebars, but there's just something very I hesitate again to say iconic, but specifically iconic about those 80s cyber boys. It's just sort of like a jumpsuit with like loads and loads of wires and bits and bobs glued onto it and then spray painted silver. But it's really good, and you could see that they were going for it, and like it hits you with its 80s-ness. So you could look at it and be like, aye, that's an 80s monster design, and it's a cracking one at that. So I'm probably heavily biased towards them being the monster of the night, but we'll see what else we'll have. We'll see what their competitors are. I went back and forth on liking 80s Cybermen stories because a lot of the time people are like, oh, they're too emotional, they're too like cartoony villainy, like showing anger and like certain emotions and stuff. I've grown into liking that because the Cybermen like convert you into robots and kind of take away your humanity, but they also kind of don't, because like they make you all the same and like remove your emotions and stuff, but they're vaguely bad at it. Like that one woman from Torchwood was just able to override it like completely, and that was like in the 2000s with 2000s tech. And I know I'm not going to get into like lore stuff, but you know they're vaguely bad at what they do, the Cybermen. And I like Cybermen bantering. Like cyber banter is one of my favorite kinds of banter, to be honest. There's not many examples of it, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good, to be honest. Yeah, Earthshock is one you should probably aim to watch if you've not seen it, and it's definitely very rewatchable. Not in terms of like missing stuff you hadn't seen the first time, but just in terms of it's a very watchable piece of TV. But yes, what else have we got? Earthshock, and then Time Flight. Time Flight is not very good. Overly ambitious, definitely, and quite dumb in ways that you just don't get on TV anymore. Like, I mean, not to the same degree, to be honest. There's a definite charm to the oh my god, what is going on in Time Flight. Time Flight is the one with Concorde. I specifically remember getting the VHS of Time Flight way back in the day. Probably not that long ago, not as long as you'd suspect getting a VHS. I feel like it was I got it from like a Virgin Mega store or a Zavvi when they were going into business. Probably not Zavvi, but I remember it was a Virgin shop and they just had VHSs, and like I was like, oh, they've got like Doctor Who VHSs. I definitely want these. And I got the Time Flight one. I remember liking it. I remember thinking it was pretty fun, pretty good, and kind of enjoying the plot and the vibe and the tone. It's kind of indefensible as Time Flight. It's one of those like just kind of mythically bad ones that you hear about, and I can't really overcome that. I can't really make an attack on that kind of statement because the main twist of Time Flight is such a bizarre left field twist that there's no real justification that can be applied to it, because it's the one with Concorde and like fair play, and I think that's it adds to the like early 80s charm that like Concorde's a big deal, and like BBC Concorde early 80s vibe is a place to be, and like it's great that like they finally got Tegan back to Heathrow. Is it Heathrow? I'll be angry if it's not Heathrow. Let's say it's Heathrow though. She wants to get back because she's terrible. Like I like Tegan, but her whole character for that first season is like, oh, I've got a flight to catch. You got to get me back, and she doesn't take into consideration that she now has like access to a time space machine. She's never happy with that. Like it's such a weird. It's like a classic Who staple that the companions aren't into the god machine, and like they don't get like that their world has completely changed and for the better, But she's like, no, get me back to Heathrow, you mad person. You kidnapped me. I'm not enjoying this. And to be fair, like, things get pretty bad in the 80s. There's a lot of death. But, a magical time space machine that, like, you get in for free and can go anywhere with and have a good time. She's like, no, get me back to Heathrow, please. And to Time Flight's credit, they do go to Heathrow. I'm almost vaguely certain. But yeah. James in the chat says, just finished the Patreon vid, then I got the notification for this. So much content. You're right, James. We've got a Patreon where we do Patreon exclusive content. If you want in on that, head over to Patreon. Mid-vid ad for Patreon. Give us a wee pound and we'll do stuff. The current goal is to get money to build a throne of beans, which we'll do a video on. But yes, I'm just going to talk about Time Flight because I have seen it so many times. They take her to like Heathrow and then like a Concorde goes missing, so there's some shenanigans, and then via those shenanigans the Concorde, like I feel like it's two Concordes and the Doctor end up on like prehistoric Earth. And then there's just bubble monsters. Like, they're just straight up soap bubble monsters. And I love them, and I will defend them. And if I can bring myself, I will give them Monster of the Night over the cool Cyberman designs. Because I am just that kind of a monster. But yes, they make it to prehistoric Earth, and there's bubble monsters. And then there's this guy who I can't really describe. He's like a Fu Manchu caricature of a Chinese mystic kind of thing. So you're already in like deeply offensive territory. Like, you're already like pushing the boat. Like, I can't imagine it was that acceptable in the 80s, to be honest. Like, you say, oh, it was a different time, but like, come on. Like, it's still pretty bad looking. And he has an accent, and he doesn't say anything that I can remember being out and out super racist, but he's definitely pushing up against something. And then I can only imagine this twist comes into play because they realized that the villain they had wasn't all that compelling, and they wanted to do something with it. It turns out that the Chinese mystic, who looks like a kind of like bloated, zombified Fu Manchu, turns out just to be, and this is a spoiler for Time Flight, and I feel entirely justified in not giving anybody warnings for spoilers for Time Flight, turns out to be the Master, because of course he does. He just whips off his mask, just like whips off his face, and for some reason he's the Master. And like, normally like people are down to clown with that, but he had no reason really to pretend to be a zombified, bloated Fu Manchu caricature. He was just doing that for his own pleasure, it would seem. Like, he's not trying to fool the Doctor. Like I feel like they don't cross paths until the reveal happens. So there was no like deception involved. He just did that because he wanted to. And like, last night we talked about how he killed half the universe. So like, this isn't that big a crime. It's just an inexplicable production choice that I feel like Time Flight probably gets quite a lot of flack for. That said, I think Time Flight's quite a fun ride. I know I'm a contrarian, but it's got a lot of kind of early 80s charm, which I know I can say about every single episode of the Fifth Doctor's run, but specifically it's there in spades with Time Flight. I feel like Unit comes up. I feel like the Doctor lands at Heathrow, and then like people are like, oh, and like security tries to get in on him, but he's like, no, just phone Unit, just phone him up, tell him the Doctor, I'll solve whatever's going on. It's fine. Should be more of that in Who. There should be more just like, I just phone Unit. And to be fair, it's a resolution. The last episode that it was broadcast there was a phone Unit, but it turned out Brexit had killed them. So what have we got? We've got Time Flight, Arc of Infinity. That is the one. Spoilers. Let's just say spoilers for everything. Like, I can't just keep saying, so this one, and then, spoilers. Yeah, Arc of Infinity is the one with Omega. Omega comes back. You get, I think this is the season, I think Arc of Infinity starts the season-long anniversary arc, and they had like a returning legendary monster from for every serial, and Omega comes back, and I've never really worked out why people aren't happy with Omega coming back. I feel like it's like his first story is quite daft, So I feel like his treatment in Arc of Infinity isn't all that bad. It's the one where they go to Amsterdam. Really, that's what kind of sticks out. They go to Amsterdam. There's a lot of kind of time lordy politics, and it's not very good. But I never thought it was that bad. Honestly, I never thought it was like. I was never disappointed that they did Omega bad. Like I like Omega, but like I say, his first appearance was pretty daft. Do you remember those bubbly antimatter monsters? And then that bit where he just takes off his head and there's nothing there because like also that gremlin friend that he just had, that gremlin chum that he set on the Doctor to have a wee CQC fight with. You know, Three Doctors is good, but like I never really held it up as like pinnacle of stuff. And I quite like the redesign of Omega. I think his first design is probably better, but there's a cool kind of I don't know. His head kind of looks like a Jar of Greed, the Yu-Gi-Oh card. If you've ever seen that, it's a kind of vase-shaped thing that's clearly made from like foam or something kind of silicone-y, like latexy kind of. It's kind of bulbous. The most powerful bloke in the cosmos. That is Omega is the most powerful bloke in the cosmos, and that is an incredible line from the Third Doctor's era. Potentially one of the best lines in Doctor Who. I know it's your favourite, but yes, Omega's cool. He should come back. He's got a bird friend. Like he upgrades from having a gremlin friend to having like this homunculus bird friend that doesn't look all that convincing. But he is like a man, like he's like an experiment. Like he's like a constructed Frankenstein being. So in my mind, he gets away with that. Like that's fine. He can be as unconvincing as he wants. He's a synthetic thing. But yeah, the end chase, because there's like a chase at the end of Arc of Infinity where they chase Omega down through the streets because he was trying to steal the Doctor's body so he could like manifest in the world or whatever, and then like he's turning into Peter Davidson, so like Peter Davidson is chasing like Peter Davidson in the Omega costume, but he's turning green. That chase always reminds me of the chase in Only Fools and Horses in Hull and back. Is it to Hull and back? Yeah, the one where they go to Amsterdam and there's like a chase at the end. Like it's almost scene for scene, like Only Fools and Horses. Like it's weird. I wonder if they were filmed at the same time. I had to look into that. Like I wonder if they like saved money by just sending multiple crews over. I don't know what the state of the BBC's like overseas filming stuff was. I imagine it was quite cheap, so they probably did a lot of block stuff together. That could be pretty funny. I'll look into that. But yeah, Arkham Infinity, I always think it's a pretty fun thing because it's like Omega's back. They should do more stuff with Omega. Snake Dance is the sequel to Kinda/ whatever you want to call that. I feel like people don't like it as much. I think they're both quite good. I think they've got both. They're both got equal merits, really. Snake Dance, I feel like, has a less convincing Snake. And I feel like it doesn't turn giant, to be honest. I watched both of those for the first time last year. We're going to get that on a t-shirt, to be honest. But, yeah. Snake Dance has, like, Martin Clunes in it, like teen Martin. Like, he's a terrible teen Martin Clunes. And I find that infinitely hilarious. I don't know why. It might be, like, the weird amounts of Doc Martin that I've seen over the years. But just seeing, like, 80s Adam and the Ants, like kind of new romantic teen Martin Clunes. I don't know if he was a teen at the time, but he's very much playing like a stuck-up kind of teen space prince kind of a role. So I feel confident in calling him teen Martin Clunes. You know, one of the guys from Men Behaving Badly. I don't even know if our audience of James would have seen Men Behaving Badly, so I don't know if that's like a reference that you get, but you know, the guy from Doc Martin. You've probably seen Doc Martin. I don't really remember much about Snake Dance other than Doc Martin being in it. There's a lot of kind of cool 80s. You know of it. Yeah, you know of Doc Martin. Like, it's just on endlessly on ITV. The evil of the snake, Kinda, the Dark God guy, I feel like he's not as fun in Snake Dance, but I could be wrong. I tend to like remember Kinda more than I do remember Snake Dance. I feel like the giant snake prop in Kinda was a lot better than the one in Snake Dance, and it's weird because like it's from before, but it's cool that like a story from not that long ago from like the previous season gets like a sequel. Like that doesn't often happen. Like I think there's only like a couple examples you can point to, like Monster of Peladon and Curse of Peladon. Like I feel like that's the only other example in Classic Who. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like this is because it was the anniversary season, like I was saying just there. So they were bringing monsters back, and they were just like, "Oh, just bring that snake monster. That snake monster was a hit with the nerds. We'll bring it back." So I feel like that's kind of a cheat because it's like, "Oh, you're bringing back classic monsters from last year," but I don't know. I liked it. I just remember Martin Clunes just bobbing about. Like that's my abiding memory of it, and I imagine that's like most people's abiding memory of it. But yeah, Mordwin Undead is the one with the Brigadier. And it introduces Turlough. Yeah, so is there a crossover? Yeah, that must mean that like because they lost Adric in Earthshock, so it's just been Nissa and Tegan. So it'll be Nissa and Tegan the now, and they'll pick up Turlough in Mordwin Undead, and then they'll lose Nissa in the next episode. Yeah, that's a weird overlap, isn't it? I bet there's been a lot of Big Finish stories where like they play with the overlap of companions there and have like extra adventures. I like Turlough's design, if that means anything. The human's design. I like how he's like a ginger public schoolboy with like, and he's always wearing his like school uniform, like it's an anime. Like it has this like incredible 80s anime vibe because he's just perpetually a schoolboy. I imagine he was like 47 at the time. Oh my gosh, we should probably plug the laptop in. It's running out of time. 7 minutes. 7 minutes. We can bang this out in 7 minutes. If it doesn't work. But yeah, it's the one with Brigadier, and I feel like I learned recently that it was written for Ian instead of the Brigadier. Brigadier was a kind of last minute kind of save. It was written for Ian, and that explains why the Brigadier had retired from unit and was working at like a big school instead of military things or defending the Earth from alien invasion. And like it plays like Mordwin Undead is one of the other like things that like messes up the unit dating controversy because like whatever like year it's stated to be, like it doesn't mesh with like the unit story's stated time period. And also it's one of those Doctor Who stories from the Classic Who that deals with time travel because there's like two brigadiers from two slightly different points in time and they should never touch. The batteries are just counting down to oblivion. We've got 5 minutes left. This isn't unprofessional, but like literally I've got vague things to say about Mordwin Undead and have like nothing to talk about with Terminus. And it's only one episode, so maybe we'll do Terminus tomorrow. Thanks for watching. This is quite a hasty end, but thanks for watching. You're cool guys. Like, comment, and subscribe because it makes me feel good. I know a couple people, we've picked up a couple subscriptions since last night, so thanks for that. If you're some of the new folk that subscribed, thanks so much. It really helps. It makes me very happy when I see those numbers go up. Also, that's just cool. We have a Patreon. If you want to support the channel, go there and do money things, basically. Yeah. Join us tomorrow where we'll like be rocketing through the end of the 5th Doctor, and then we've only got it's only like 5 days until the end of the stream. We've got like 5 days to cover 3 Doctors. That just does not feel right. And then I don't know what I'll do with myself when all this ends. But yeah, thanks for watching.